Well, welcome to the OnlyFinance podcast. I'm here with Shannen Tune, Chop Champion from Food Network, owner of multiple businesses in the Houston area, and somebody I work out with on a regular basis. So just wanted to check in with him. Today's topic really is focused on one simple thing, how to start a business. And I think you've got like, how many?
Man, I have 3 restaurants, a catering company, and a seasoning company. And so was that 6? I think I have 6 businesses now.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So let's talk about the journey to starting a business, right? So we'll just start with like, how do you get to one? How do you start one? How do you just kind of how do you get to there?
My path, is probably going to be a little different from other people, but I worked for 20 plus years in luxury hotels and restaurants all over the country. Yeah. And after doing that for other people, I just had the urge to do it for myself. Okay. It was just the reality that I was giving some of my best creations to other people. Yeah. And they own them long after I leave. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like they can continue. Like there's restaurants I worked at 12 years ago who are still serving my creations, my dishes. Yeah. And I was just like, if I'm going to be giving my best, I should have ownership. And I'm never going to own anything in the capacity that I was working. I was just a cog in the wheel. I don't work out, they'll get another one. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it was just like, I wanted to have ownership of my own thing. And I was in a unique role because as a chef, I was also a food and beverage front of the house manager. So I ran the front and back of the house. Yeah. I think I have a pretty good personality where I can command a dining room and command a kitchen at the same time. Yeah. Most chefs are either too far to the right or the left to be in the front and the back. Right. You know what I'm saying? Most chefs, they have to stay in the back. Right. They just don't have the personality. They can't talk to people. Yeah. I like Gordon Ramsay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You can't talk to your cooks the same way you talk to a guest. So my story starts with me, like, having the dual roles. And I met my investor that way. Like, yeah. I was just touching the table, asking him how everything was. It was as soon as I got the job. I was a chef in Austin at the Driscoll, and I just asked him, I said, "Hey, how's everything going today?" He's like, "Thanks for asking. Everything's awful. The coffee's cold. The food sucks. Etc. Everything was bad, right?" And I listened to him. I took his information in, and then when he was done, I was like, "I agree." Like, I was a guest. I was in your seat 2 weeks ago, and no one knew that I was about to be their boss, and my service was good, the coffee was cold, and the food was bad. I said, all I could say is that I was here to change that. Give me some time, and I'll change it. And then I was like, thank you for your input. And I started to walk away, and he grabbed me, and he was just like, you know what? I've been coming here for 5 years. You're the first person to ever ask me how everything was. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he was just like, and he said, you probably didn't deserve all of that. But that was 5 years of frustration. Yeah. But from that, the
fact that he came there 5 years after the food sucks.
You know what it was? He was, unbeknownst to me, the president of the bank across the street. So it was just convenient. Of course. You know what I'm saying? So he came out of convenience, not because it was good. But when he came back like a month later. Yeah. And he was shocked because, one, I remembered him. And I made sure he had our best server. He had our best, I made sure his food was piping hot. And he made a comment like that he hated the breakfast sauces that we use. Mm-hmm. So I had ordered a bunch of samples of breakfast sauces and held them, frozen. And then when he came there, I cooked them all. I said, pick one. And he said, what do you mean? I said, you were so vocal about how you didn't like this. I'll change it. Like, based on your opinion. And he's like, you're gonna make a change for this whole restaurant based on my feedback? I said, yeah. And he chose it and I changed it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then I just made sure that every time he came in there, his experience was great. Yeah. Right? Fast forward 5 years. I no longer work in Austin. I'm in Houston, working at a hotel right across the street from where we are right now, Hotel Derrick. And I'm hating life. I'm tired of working for hotels. I'm tired of working for other people. And I remember he said, if you ever wanted to do something, reach out. I would love to invest.
Yeah.
And 5 years later, I reached out to him and I had a check 2 weeks later.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So, talk to us about, now that you kind of have the check in hand, what's the process in starting the business?
So even before I reached out to him, the first step I tell everybody, if you have an idea and you want to start a business, write a business plan.
Right.
Right. So, because that was the first thing he asked me for.
Yeah.
Right. And that's generally an investor, a smart investor. They want to see that because that means you're serious.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm so happy I had it already done. So when he asked for it, I was able to shoot it right over to him.
Right.
And my business plan, like, it was, pretty well done. Like, even today, anytime things go off the rails a little bit, I just go back to what the business plan said we should do. Right. And so that was like step one. Like, I wrote the business plan.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So write the business plan. Now let's talk about lessons learned. Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh, you don't know what you don't know. Right. So that was like that was the first lesson. Like, there were so many things I did not know, and I wish I did what I do now. Like, I consult.
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally flying next week to North Carolina to consult for a restaurant out there. I wish I had hired a consultant first.
Yeah.
Because there were simple things like, I started with a food truck, right? So the most important part of that is the food truck, right? I had the worst builders in Houston build my food trucks. Like, they were just bad. Like, and like the way they did everything cheap. So it was a cheap food truck, and I literally got what I paid for.
Yeah.
So, my food truck, I think it would have cost like maybe $35,000.
Yeah.
And it was just in the worst condition. Like, in my first year of owning the food truck, I had to replace the engine 3 times.
Oh, wow.
It broke down every other month. I lost $100,000 in business, like contracted business where it was guaranteed money, but I couldn't do it because my food truck was so unreliable.
Yeah.
So there was that part. The accounting part. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know anything about payroll taxes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know the difference between a W-2 and a 1099. There were so many things I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I also didn't know that banks don't lend you money to
you
start
need
a business. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they don't lend you when you need it. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, it's crazy to me whenever I don't need money.
Of course.
People are throwing it at me.
Of course.
The second I need money, can't get it.
Absolutely not.
So yeah, it was that, just like the accounting side of things. I just didn't know. And even like some of the marketing things that I know now, I didn't know then, how important marketing is to your business. It's kind of what sets us apart from some other counterparts.
Yeah, marketing is key, man. That's crazy. So if you had to redo it, hire a consultant, right, in the industry, right, whatever industry.
Yeah, I would have either hired a consultant or just spent more time talking to people who are already doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because had I asked 3 people about my builder, I'd have known what, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't. I got 3 estimates and went with the one I can afford.
Yeah.
And what I really should have done was ask my investor for more money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or come up with more money, because had I spent double what I spent, most of my problems would have been alleviated.
Yeah. Due diligence.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Little due diligence.
Yeah.
So now first one's off the ground. Let's talk about the multiples, right? So a lot of people have this idea that they want to have multiple businesses. I am going to go kind of 50-50 on that one.
I tell people right now that, like, all right, this is the lesson I learned. When I went from 1 food truck to 2 food trucks, I assumed I was going to double my money. Only thing I guaranteed was I doubled my expenses.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So anytime someone tells me that they want to have multiple businesses, I ask them why. You know what I'm saying? Is it to have multiple streams of revenue? You can have multiple streams of revenue without having multiple businesses.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So my whole thing is like, why do you want to do it? I tell people all the time, I'm not like a ego restaurateur where I just want restaurants to say I have them.
Yeah.
If they're not making me money, like, and it's taking me time, it's not worth my time.
Yeah.
So I always tell people is like you have to have everything in place before you expand. Yeah. And I learned some lessons the hard way there. Like, I thought I had good management on my food truck so that if I was no longer there, they would continue to run well. I was wrong. The quality went down 50% as soon as I walked away from it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have strong enough management presence
right
on my food trucks. And like literally within 3 months, that the performance of my first food truck dropped by 50%.
Yeah.
Revenue, quality, everything. And it was becoming a headache. And you have to go back in there and get everything right. And it was very, very tough. So the biggest lesson I learned is like, if you're going to expand your business, your original location should be able to run fine without you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You should have all your SOPs on paper. People should know what to do. Your phone shouldn't have to ring to figure out a problem. Everyone should know what to do.
Yeah.
And you should have the right people in place.
Yeah.
Not having the right people in place can ruin a business. I've seen it happen several times.
Oh yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
They're always great people.
Yeah.
They're just not always great business people.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, love the person, the individual, the human, but in terms of them being able to carry out the mission, maybe it's just not the right mission for them.
Yeah. Like it's hard for someone to care about your business the same way you care about your business.
Right.
And it's a very tough expectation because I care about my business, but it's mine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care about your like your business. Like, that's your business. I care about you as the individual, but I don't care about, you know what I'm saying? It's not yours. So, like, I made sure I learned my lessons. I learned what motivates me. And then I learned to ask what motivates my supervisors and managers.
Yeah.
And like, one of my managers has a piece. He owns a piece.
Yeah.
Because now it is his. You know what I'm saying? And he treats it accordingly.
Of course. Yeah. Now, you can delegate responsibility, but you can't abdicate responsibility, right?
No.
Right. And so a lot of people try to kind of open a business and they want to abdicate the responsibility. That's not.
Yeah.
You can delegate all you want, but you can't abdicate your responsibility.
Yeah.
So now we got, business number 2 in place. Number 3, we got the right management in place. We looked at finances. We understand a lot of stuff. What's kind of the next thing, right? Other than another business, what's the next thing, right? What's the growth in, we'll call it not development, but evolution of the businesses?
Evolution of the businesses and evolution of us is balance.
Yep.
I am trying to find ways to spend more time on the things that make me more money and less time on things that don't. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I have one part of my business that's way more profitable than everything else.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, all right, so how do I do more of that?
Right.
And less of the other things.
Right.
And so it's like just kind of finding that. And it's also planning for the next stages of our life. You know what I'm saying? Like, where I'm 44, retirement isn't like super far away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I want to retire early. You know, my mom retired at 45, my dad retired at 57.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to work in 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so now it's kind of like, all right, when our second chapter of our lives come, what are we going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we want to live?
Yeah.
So we're figuring out that part of our life now.
Yeah.
Because we can consult forever. We can do catering and private chef as long as we want. But the day-to-day running of a business, we can't do that when we're 70. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're just kind of figuring out that part of what happens next.
Yeah. And that kind of boils down to retirement planning piece and all that other stuff and, all that other good jazz. So I think the other thing that we think about is now that we're getting to the second phase, what is the plan?
Yeah.
So
my plan?
Mhm.
I'm going to leave the country.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to Costa Rica in July. Me and wife are almost sure that's where we want to retire.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at property. I want to do rent Airbnbs and do like a chef experience.
Yeah.
So like, you know, you rent our Airbnb. It's like a bed and breakfast almost. And we do all your meals, but on a high level.
Yeah.
And it's affordable to live there. It's somewhere I want to live.
Yeah.
And I won't have to work there the rest of my life. I can work when I want to almost.
Yeah, there's a lot of new money going to Costa Rica, like in NOSA and all those other places. Yeah. So, you know, now have you thought about the exit of the business? Right?
Yes, I've already franchised one of my restaurants.
Which one is that?
The one in Katy. I franchised that one about a year ago, actually.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. And then eventually I'll do the same with my downtown location. I'll franchise that one. I'll most likely I have my
the downtown ones are which ones?
I have Craft Burger, Pecking Order, and Carol K's.
Okay.
And they're all at Finn Hall downtown.
Okay.
And I will probably
go eat there.
Yeah. I will probably franchise that to my manager who's running it now. He's been with me for 4 years. And I just think that would be the best course of action for us now. Like, hey, because he's already running them. You know what I'm saying? So I won't have to train someone to do it.
Yeah.
And where we can still be involved but not have to be there on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's cool. Awesome. Yeah. What else do you want to add for all the budding entrepreneurs out there that are watching this and going, man, I want to open a business? What do you want to add? What do you want to tell them?
I would say that although I am a believer that entrepreneurship is not for everyone, I think everyone should try it. I think whatever you want to do, find a mentor. Like you don't know what you don't know. I was told that by an entrepreneur who's also my mentor, and but he's not in this industry,
the space. Yeah,
yeah, he's just my business entrepreneur, and he was like, "Go find an entrepreneur. Stop making decisions by yourself because you don't know what you don't know."
Yeah,
you know, and so many things that like I had a partner when I first started, and everyone was like, you shouldn't have had a partner. And I did not listen to that. And
yeah, those
$16,000 later for me to separate from my partner, you know what I'm saying? But it was just like, I did not have a mentor to tell me not to do this, not to go through. You know what I'm saying?
Man. Partnerships, that's an expensive lesson.
Yeah.
Learn the same lesson.
Yeah.
Learn the same lesson.
Oh, my whole thing when it comes to a partnership, you shouldn't have a partner unless they could do something that you absolutely can't do or can't afford.
Yeah.
And that wasn't my situation. Like my partner didn't do something that I couldn't do myself or I couldn't afford.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so it was like a lesson learned. You know what I'm saying? But definitely get a mentor in whatever you field you want to go into, and you got to write that business plan. And then really make sure your business plan makes sense. That's why having a mentor makes sense. Like I've seen people who run their business plans by me, and I'm like, you're missing huge components.
Yeah.
Like I had someone who I'm consulting for, and I said, all right, let me see your business plan. They're having issues with food costs. And I said, well, you built your food costs off of numbers from 5 years ago. We had a whole pandemic and
9% inflation.
Yeah. So it's this is why you have these problems, because you're using old data. Yeah. Another person's marketing plan was from 10 years ago. And I'm like, no, even what worked 3 years ago doesn't work today.
Absolutely not.
You know what I'm saying? I'm using GTP every single day now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I never thought I would use that. And I'm like, oh, this makes my life so much simpler.
Oh, I use it all the time. I mean, We joke about vacations all the time, but I actually use it to write our vacation itineraries.
Oh yeah, I've definitely done that.
Yeah, you know, so
It was like spot on too. Like everything I actually wanted to do was
pretty
in
tight.
there.
Yeah, it's pretty tight, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, always interesting stuff. Cool, man. Well,
I have one more.
Go ahead.
There's something me and my wife started like probably 2 years into our business was always having something to look forward to.
Yeah.
So we stay with a vacation booked.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like right now it's crazy. This whole beginning of the year has been crazy busy. We haven't had a lot of time.
Yeah.
But we know we have a vacation. Like I have 20 days and I'll be going for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Now I want to lob one more in there, and I joke people. I've been self-employed literally since I was a child.
Yeah.
I've never actually had a job.
Okay.
In my entire life. I mean, I worked 1099 contract work for Mass Mutual for 14 years. Prior to that, I worked for my family's restaurant from 10 to like 21.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, I started working at 10.
And from 5 to 10, he was the biggest D-boy on the block, moving weight.
I was huge at 5.
Yeah.
Actually, at 10, I was like 5'4". But anyways, didn't get that too much taller from there. But setting boundaries. A lot of people who start in businesses will shut everything else out in their life. Their family, their friends, their parents, their wives, their kids, and it will just consume you.
Yeah.
And be this thing that eats you alive without boundaries. So the first thing I would tell people is, and you're not always perfect, all right? First of all, let me disclaim, I'm not the perfect person, right? You can't set boundaries, but you will try to set boundaries, set date nights with your spouses, spend some time with your kids, right? Make some time to stop by and see your mom, right? Look, I'm going to tell you right now, if your mom's 60, she might live to 80. You got 20 years left. You see her 3 times a year.
Yeah.
What's that? 90 times?
Every time I see my parents who live 20 minutes from me,
Yeah.
I always think, how many more visits do I got?
I at one point in my life at Mass Mutual, I was so consumed. My parents lived 20 minutes away. I probably wouldn't see them for a whole quarter.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes 6 months out of the year because my wife dropped off the kids and, maybe we had birthday functions. But beyond that, there was really nothing to do, right? I didn't go see them. I was so consumed by something, right? And you really got to set those healthy boundaries with everything. And that's, as I get older in the entrepreneurial life, right, we talk about fitness, right? Like that workout time, that's blocked off. We got to do it, right? Because then what are you here for? You're going to end up being 65, on medications, can't move, can't walk. And what are you going to enjoy? All the money that you made to sit around because you can't move?
Trust me, when I started at 45, my doctor said I only had 10 more years to live if I continued on the path that I was on.
Shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so I got right to it right away. And now I have a clean bill of health. Every issue that I had when I walked into has been regulated. And it was just like, you have to, like what you're saying, you have to make time for those things. I said, I just started getting money. I ain't trying to die. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be able to spend some of it,
Yeah. And that statement right there, it makes me feel so good about, look, we're here on the OnlyFinance because I own Veris Financial, right? Mm-hmm. But as a side business, I own an F45 gym. And that statement right there makes me so happy on why I still work with it, deal with it, push it, grind towards it. Because, in any business, whether it's financial services, gym, or whatever, it's just tough. It's you got to keep plowing ahead every single day. And that's an awesome statement. So I appreciate that, man. Wow. That's awesome, dude. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. We appreciate it. And we'll catch up with y'all soon.